Hello and welcome to another video by Rick Miracle May. In my series, Freemasonry and Satanism. I'm going to look at another book I've been reading. It certainly seems these books I keep finding continue to connect the dots and verify what it seems to be the common denominator about who's behind what's going on in our world. And what is going on in our world? I know a lot of people don't want to talk about conspiracies to depopulate the planet, conspiracies to fulfill biblical prophecies, conspiracies for a one world order, a one world religion, a one world currency, and depopulating the planet, if I didn't already say that. And it seems with this lockdown worldwide, even the astrologer Kepacha telling us about the lockdown in Costa Rica, Max Egan talking about the lockdown in Australia, all over the world. It's actually unbelievable that citizens all over the world would be so complacent and passive. And I certainly don't want people to start rioting, but refusing to participate in this program might be a good thing. But everybody was acting like little controlled robots when I went to the grocery store the other day. Even inside the store, they had arrows that you could only walk down an aisle in a particular direction. And so you had to stay 10, 12 feet behind somebody, and it had an arrow, and then you would go down, come around, and an arrow on the floor coming up, and lines outside. You had to stand 10 feet apart from everybody. So it seems like somebody is pushing to have all of we humans acting like robots. And I've been reading this book, The Nephilim Crown and the 5G Apocalypse by Dean Henderson. And lordy, yes, I'm reading this book. And this is series 288. That's 288 authors. I have been doing these Freemasonry and Satanism book reviews. And on topics from psychic research, remote viewing, the government having agents leave their bodies and control or spy on people, UFOs, aliens, religion, history, warfare, banking manipulation, stock markets, climate change, global warming, biological warfare, development, all this stuff across the board. So this is series 288, which means it won't be too long before I reach 300. And every time I get up to 100 or 200 and now 300 in my 6+ years of doing the Freemasonry and Satanism book review series, when I reach a 100 mark, 300, I go back and do a book review, probably numerous synopsises of all the books that I've talked about. Now think about that, 300 books on all kinds of topics, psychic research to Satanism, Zionism, Kabbalism, and Freemasons, Rosicrucians, and then talking about the 300 books, authors, and a lot of those authors wrote more than one book. So I've made, in some cases, like the Freemasonic Blue Lodge Handbook, I made 12 2-hour videos just so I could get every single bit of the Blue Lodge Handbook published, so people could easily watch the video if they don't want to go through the tedious task of reading books like that. And that's why I do these things. I know people don't have 10, 5, 15 years to come up to speed to where I am. So I make these videos so people can get there quicker, because we don't have this kind of time, 15 years. We all may not be here in 5 years, in 5 months, and in another year. Who knows? It seems like they really are working overtime to change our paradigm, change our reality, and they do have the tools to do it. So Dean Henderson, Nephilim Crown, and the 5G Apocalypse. He wrote another one. Maybe I'll make a video on this book. The Illuminati Agenda 21, a Luciferian plan to destroy creation. Now I'm aware when I try to connect the dots, and I talk about the Queen of England and her association with the Knights of Malta and other Masonic type organizations, including the Illuminati, including the Freemasons, including the Knights of Columbus, including organizations like the Council of Foreign Relations, the Bilderberg Group, the Bohemian Grove, the Church of Satan, Zionism, Kabbalism, and so much more. When I try to put those two together with our reality, I'm aware some people maybe get a little vertigo, lightheaded, and start getting ready to pass out, because it just boggles their mind. They can't put the spiritual component, as evil as that part of the spiritual component is, with the people who control our world. But let me assure anybody that the two are connected, without a doubt. This mural behind me is full of the Freemasonic symbols. The all-seeing eye, the rays behind the eye, the columns on the left and right on this mural, supposed to represent the moon, which is Satan, and over here it has the sun and the column, which is Lucifer. And then, of course, you have the serpent behind my back here, and the eye. And this is a Freemasonic thing, and there are Freemasonic lodges in all of our cities, big, huge buildings, and smaller lodges in our towns. And that's where they pull recruits to get into political jobs and other important jobs, to running even probably the dog catcher and the water company, and so much more. People they can control come from these secret societies where they all swear allegiance under threat of death to not disclose the goings-on. So the two are connected. You can look on the dollar bill. That's as government as you can get, right? And you can look at the dollar bill, and you can look at the pyramid behind me. You can look at the eye on the dollar bill. You can see the rays behind the eye. And it says New World Order on the bottom, Novus Ordo Secundum, and Annutus Conceptus, mission complete. Mission complete! And on the other side of the dollar bill, right on top of that one, you can see a little tiny owl. That would be Moloch. And apparently, according to the Bible, Jeremiah, the Lord God sent King Nebuchadnezzar through some kind of prophets, some people who can communicate with the spiritual world, down to Jerusalem to destroy the temple, because they were sacrificing their sons and daughters to the demon god Moloch on the dollar bill. At the Bohemian Grove, where they have a big owl and a fire underneath, and they throw a baby in the fire called the cremation of care. And a lot of our presidents and political leaders have been photographed there. That's where they planned the development of the nuclear bombs. And so you can easily connect the evil satanic component with the people who control our world. And so when I go get these books by other people verifying the conclusions I've come to after the 15 years of research, because I was reading books and doing research for almost 10 years before I even gave myself permission to start speaking in a video, going public. Of course, most people would do research on something and then write a book and then become popular and then start making videos or a movie. In my case, every time I started looking into a topic to research and write a book, I continued to find that somebody had already done the research and had written the books, and they wind up in the trash bin in obscurity. Nobody knows about these famous authors after 10 or 15 or 20 years. And so I made it my mission, sort of, to go find these books, collect these books, read these books, make videos and expose this material so people can get on the fast track to verifying this, and also for myself to put a very confident amount of information in my brain so that when I spoke about something, I was certain about it and I wasn't misguided or misleading people or being deceived, because there were things that I, like anybody else, found almost impossible to conceive of, to believe. But apparently it's all true. There is this evil force, just like if you go to church and you're a Christian, you believe in God and you pray. Yes or no? If you're a Christian and you believe in God, you pray. Do you believe in God? Do you believe you have a soul? Do you want your soul to be saved? So, in other words, you believe in God. You believe that you're a spiritual being. And if you're Islamic, Arab, not all Arabs are Islamic. Some of them are Christian, some of them are atheists, some of them are Buddhist, some of them are Hindu, etc., Zoroaster. But if you are Islamist, do you believe that Muhammad was real? Do you believe that Muhammad was communicated with by the angel Gabriel? Of course you do. You go to your churches you have, your holy locations, you get on a towel, you bow towards the east, you go to Mecca, you go to the Dome of the Rock, you believe. And if you're Buddhist and you meditate and you have the Buddha doll in your home and you have your beliefs, you believe. If you're Hindu and you have those symbols and figures and all that, figurines, the Shiva statue or what Kali statue, whatever. I don't know about the Hindus, so I apologize. I know some, but not enough to be an expert or what their religious symbols are. But I do know that the Hindu people believe what their religion is. So these are all good things about their religions they believe in. All the Hindus are not evil. All the Buddhists are not evil. All the Islamic Arabs in the Middle East are not evil. All the Christians are not evil. All the Mayans and their beliefs are not evil. The Peruvians, the Hopi Indians are not evil. The Aborigines are not evil. All over the world, these native tribes, they're all not evil. But then, if you read the Bible and you read these religions, like even the Islamic people, they have something, we call it a ghost or a demon or something like that. In the Arabs, they call it jinn, J-I-N. And we've all seen Aladdin's lamp and the genie coming out of the bottle. And apparently, these kinds of spiritual appearances are not unusual. So there are these evil entities. In the Bible, they call them fallen angels, and a demon called Baal, B-A-A-L, Moloch, etc., etc. So it's real. I guess that's the first thing that people need to come to grips with. It's real. and they run our world. So when I read from this book, understand the mentality. And when you apparently you accept Jesus Christ as your Savior, you become possessed with the Spirit of Jesus Christ. And maybe in the Islamic religion, you can be possessed by the spirit that they preach, or Buddhist or Hindu, or whatever they use for assistance with those statues or symbols. My point is, so if you have the Spirit, you accept the Holy Ghost, Jesus as your Savior, you become possessed with the Spirit, and people have even been known to speak in tongues and all this other stuff, and psychics have communicated with the other world. My point is, if you believe and you pray to and you do rituals to these evil forces, money is the root of all evil, right? There's the symbol they put on our money. The root of all evil. It's right there. And if you don't think that's true, if you know that 13 is how many witches in a coven, there's 13 lines on that shield, 13 arrows, 13 leaves, 13 stars. And according to Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma, the eagle is a representative of Lucifer, or Satan, a demon. So they put Moloch, the demon, on the dollar. They put the 13s. They put the eagle. They put the all-seeing eye. And it's the symbol for the Freemasons. And I've shown in numerous videos that the Freemasons, even according to Albert Pike, you can look this up, said that Lucifer is their deity. The Theophist Society had Lucifer magazine. Lucifer is synonymous with Satan. And apparently these beings have many names and reincarnations, and faces either of a bull or an owl. So the evil forces, if these people make human sacrifices to, or do the one-eyed thing, the devil sign, the 3-6 thing, and the stuff you see on TV, and tattoos of daggers and demons on their body, all these Rainbow Coalition symbols, if they put symbols on themselves, if they do rituals to these deities, they become possessed by these deities. And you can almost tell that they're possessed by the way they speak and what they speak. And there's books published about this. Even in Hollywood, apparently a lot of the Hollywood people go to psychics and other people to teach them on how to communicate and become possessed by these beings to apparently create a performance in a movie that's unbelievable and not them. And after they do the part, they sort of collapse, like Madonna would get possessed and be that flamboyant woman, not the Madonna we all know as the rock and roll dancer, but the Madonna back then in President John Kennedy's time. And it's in some of the books I have. And Gene Roddenberry, where did he get all his Star Trek stories? All with reptilian beings in most of them, and symbols. And apparently, according to the psychic he was seeing and the meditation he was doing, he was getting it from the spiritual world. Now that should give you goosebumps if you believe this. And I've got the books. I've showed the books in my previous videos. I'll be re-releasing those videos. Regrettably, YouTube took my channel down about a year ago. And then after being on Vimeo for almost a year, they just turned my channel off. So this proverbial book burning, like a 1984 book by George Orwell, where books were banned and books were burned, and you were arrested and tortured and imprisoned, or maybe even killed if you possessed these books. Apparently, it's all coming to a true reality, what they wrote in all these books. It's all coming true. Even the biblical prophecy of what is supposed to unfold, apparently it has common denominators with all of this symbolism behind me and the things I'm about to say from this book. And so when you get a book like this and you see Nephilim Crown, 5G Apocalypse, well, we know the apocalypse is the big disaster, destruction of the world. Humans, the apocalypse. But a lot of people aren't educated about these things. They don't know what the apocalypse is. 5G, microwave transmissions, towers going up every 250 feet all over the country, transmitting frequencies the same as your microwave oven, or military microwave transmitters. They aim at the enemy, whether it's now going to be crowd control. So if they have big riots in your city because people don't like this lockdown, you're likely to see these trucks with these microwave dishes on them aimed at the crowd, microwaving them. And that sounds kind of ominous and sinister. But those microwave cell phone transmission places, and you get your video pulled down on YouTube or Vimeo or Facebook if you even mention the word 5 and the alphabet letter G in the same sentence, apparently, according to a lot of videos I've been watching. So you see the title of this book. And then Nephilim. I talk about Baal, B-A-A-L. Moloch, the demon, fallen angels, the jinn, the genie, and so much more. Evil symbolism, the reptilian eye, Gene Roddenberry's reptilians in the movies. And so you see Nephilim on this book. Apparently Nephilim is synonymous with Lucifer and Satan. The Nephilim were supposed to be the watchers. When God created mankind, he sent some of his angels to watch over mankind, help direct and teach mankind. But according to the Bible, in the Bible, it says the watchers, the sons of God, found the earth women fair and took them for their own and had children. So the fallen angels had children with humans, and the offspring were these giants. Apparently Nephilim, I keep forgetting which one comes first, the Elohim or the Nephilim. If the Nephilim were the, no, I think it's the Elohim were the angels supposed to watch over mankind, the watchers, the archons. And then when they mated with human women, they had giants for offspring. I think they were called the Nephilim. But these evil groups controlling our world right now are worshiping these fallen angels, these watchers, archons, many names and many books about this stuff, demon beings. So when you see this title, Nephilim, fallen angels, demons, Lucifer, Satan, and you see crown, that would be the Queen of England, the prince, her husband, who said he would like to be reborn as a virus to kill everybody. Isn't that interesting? That they now have the world on lockdown because of a so-called virus. And I got a lot to say about that. I've been doing a lot of research. And but this video is going to be about this. So the powers that be have been working in laboratories developing these viruses, no doubt about it. And they're involved with the Queen of England and banking systems and the Kabbalah type groups with these demon deities. So you can see Nephilim Crown, 5G Apocalypse. Oh my! Dean Henderson. So why don't I read a little bit back from the book and again, throw in my 2 cents as I read along and maybe motivate you to go get his book. Give credit where credit is due. I don't want to do an audio book or violate a copyright thing, but according to what I understand, you can read short portions of these books for a review, and that's what I'm doing. So what I had read here, as you know, I pre-read what I'm about to talk about, is the Crown Castle and the 5G Beast. The Crown, of course, would be the Queen and King of England castle, and 5G Beast. A lot of talk about 5G, and you're not supposed to talk about 5G because they don't want the word out there. The tool they have to monitor and even probably kill people, causing them to be sick with illnesses. Just think about this: would you put your baby in a microwave oven to warm your baby up? You know, of course you wouldn't. Or your cat, or a chicken, or, you know, it would be cruel and unusual. Then why would we have all these microwave transmitters every 250 feet being installed all over the world? Locked down in Costa Rica, people dying in Ecuador. The craziness is the people are complying all over the world with this fabricated disaster, and there's been a lot of evidence to show that it is a fabricated disaster. And I have to make a video about some of the evidence I have, but it's in this book. The Crown City of London's depopulation-obsessed Nephilim inbreds. What first sentence just throws you right out the window here? The Crown City of London's depopulation obsessed. So the crown in London, the Queen, the people who control Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and apparently have taken over control of the United States, are obsessed with depopulation, and apparently they're into the secret society, demonic evil religions, which includes the Nephilim, which I just explained, the Watchers, fallen angels, demons. And they ran into some headwinds beginning in 2018 with regard to their active denial 5G full spectrum dominance all-seeing eye scheme. The first paragraph. You know, the first paragraph. Pause your computer, read the first paragraph. I didn't write this book. This is series 288 in my series Freemasonry and Satanism. This mural is a Freemasonic mural. It has satanic symbols all over it. The dollar bill has the satanic symbols all over it. Has the Freemasonic symbols all over it. Has the owl Moloch on the other side. You can't help but connect the dots. Having played their Trump social chaos card via the Crown's MI6 controlled Cambridge analytics manipulation in the 2016 election, and obviously that was a psyop, a psychic mind-controlled thing for we the people, giving us the ridiculous options of Hillary Clinton and her antics that were exposed, and then the casino operator, Trump, with his son marrying a Jewish woman and his daughter marrying a Jewish man and being involved in the Leibovitch rabbinic organizations, and immediately after Trump became president, recognizing the city of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And apparently those rabbis over there even made a coin with his head on it. So this is no small thing. So you got the Crown MI6 controlled Cambridge analytic manipulation of the 2016 election. It was assumed that their Masonic project to turn us into negative energy batteries for their lizard handlers was a done deal. The second paragraph is off the wall. The lizard handlers, Gene Roddenberry, Star Trek, and all those lizards in the series. You don't think there's a common denominator there, and the lizard eye above me, and the serpent being, the serpent behind me, and the symbols all over the corporations? It isn't just me. I've been doing research. I'm up. This is series 288. So I probably have 600 plus Freemasonry and Satanism book reviews, because a lot of the authors wrote more than one book. And a lot of my book reviews, on some books, there are 3 2-hour videos, 6 2-hour videos. You know, you start making videos about the Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma, a big thick book like that, you know, you're going to have to make a half a dozen or a dozen 2-hour videos just to get a portion of the information out there that people can understand. It's so complex. So let's say 600-700 videos with the 288 authors, over 1,000 hours, YouTube canceling my channel a year later, Vimeo canceling my channel. So we do have active participation by the powers that be with their control of the internet to censor our material, cancel our channels, our websites, and everything else. And a lot of people, even according to an author, a doctor I was watching this morning with on another video, that she knows of several doctors who have been killed, and I know about biologists who have been killed, and banksters who were mysteriously dying, and so much more. So they will kill people to keep this information from the public eye. But the next sentence just continues to confirm all this stuff that I've been putting together. But the Luciferianism's main weakness is that they underestimate the human spirit. Now remember, when they want to turn us into negative batteries, they want us to hate. They want us to be in fear. They want us to defend ourselves from other people, stay away from other people, not trust other people, not love people. So that is a negative energy, if you want me to put it in ways that anybody can understand. And that is some kind of food for them. And when you love people and you forgive people and you go out and try to help people and all of that, that is positive energy, and apparently is a very toxic poison to these evil beings, because it's a God energy. So they want everybody to be converted into negative energy. And it's taken me a lot of work to come up with these conceptions of what's going on. Who wants to believe this is the way it is? But apparently, it is what it is. So it says it right here. Negative energy batteries for their lizard handlers was a done deal. But the Luciferianism's main weakness is that they underestimate the human spirit. In 2018, the Mill Valley, California's City Council voted unanimously to ban 5G from their city of 14,000 in Marion County, north of San Francisco. So let me ask this question. If this city council in California banned 5G, we can assume that these people in power in that area are intelligent people. They must have had a reason for banning 5G. That same year, a major columnist for PC Today came out against the rollout of 5G. So a major columnist for PC Today, that's a magazine, came out against the rollout of 5G. And so have a lot of other people. And he was later fired. Do you think they're trying to hide something that you should know? Meanwhile, the 2018 Farm Bill sailed through both House and Senate with bipartisan support. So the 2018 Farm Bill, that's a big thing. Farmers need financial support and legislation assistance and controlled markets to be successful. We don't want our farmers all collapsing like they appear to be doing right now. They're talking about, and I believe it because I've been seeing it. I was shopping the other day at a store that begins with A, that you can swipe your iPhone to get a discount. I don't want to say the name of the grocery store that begins with an A, that took over another major franchise, and now controls a store that begins with a W, is now owned by the company that begins with an A. So the Farm Bill, anyways, my point was, the dairy market was empty. Another store, the meat market, was pretty much empty. And a lot of people are talking about all the meat manufacturer farms all over Texas and the world are shutting down. My point is, it really appears to me that this thing that was supposed to be a 2-week quarantine that turned into a 2-month quarantine, and now they're talking at a 2-year quarantine, and now they're talking about things are never going to be the same, and all these farmers, vegetables or meat, are shutting down or can't do their crop processing. It seems to me the old method that they have used in the past to kill a lot of people by starvation seems to be looming in our future. But that's not me, just watch the news. So it talks about the Farm Bill. Hidden in the bill is a provision which will allow 5G cell towers every 250 feet in all rural areas of the United States. Where my finger is, hidden in the bill is a provision which will allow 5G towers every 250 feet in all rural areas of the U.S. So you're going to have the government having the capability to microwave people anywhere they are, and they probably can target individual people because everybody has to stand at least 10 feet apart, 12 feet apart. So there's satellite cameras that can actually see your face from the sky. Will be able to track everybody and see everybody. Quite a very sinister situation we are in. So when passed, this federal law will override any attempt by local cities, counties, or states to ban 5G. Again, I didn't make it up, but this chapter is called The Crown Castle and the 5G Beast. So the beast, the evil fallen angels, Lucifer, Satanists with their secret society organizations, and people we see speaking on TV who are very evil will be able to actually just push a button and have you or I zapped, and we just start grabbing our chest in convulsions, and the heart starts beating, and the cells in our body start bursting, and we just fall over dead. It seems like that's the system they're putting in place. And I'm not saying that. I've been watching so many videos by so many doctors, and I've been writing down all their names. I have to make a video coming up next and go through each and every one of them and where you can find these doctors and the attempts by the governments to shut them up, and so much more. But you can get books like this and find out a lot of information, but you got to have a discerning mind and be able to put all of this together. And that's why after 15 years of research and collecting these books and making videos, I do this, and I've been doing it for free because this is my planet too. This is my future too. My relatives, nephews and nieces, and all of my neighbors and their children. This is an urgent situation. This isn't about money. You can't take money with you when you die. You can't take your house with you, your gold with you, your car with you. When you die, you go by yourself, and you have to account for what you did. And stuff that you ignored, you're responsible for ignoring. Just saying, we all need to wake up if we want to save our world. So he was fired because this guy came out, a major columnist. And then they have the Farm Bill. And hidden in the Farm Bill is the 5G cell towers every 250 feet in all rural areas, so you can't hide. By 2019, other cities began to voice concerns as to the dangers of 5G. Eugene, Portland, Tacoma, Port Angeles, Lincoln, New England, and Brussels, NE, I'm not sure what NE is, north of Brussels, all put a halt to its implementation. So if all these cities like Port Angeles, Tacoma, Portland decided to put a stop to the 5G rollout, don't you think there's something serious about this? But they're still rolling it out like wildfire. An Australian barrister, a lawyer named Ray Broomhall, was successful in stopping both smart meters and being installed and 5G towers being built on the grounds that they represent criminal assault. So an attorney in Australia was able to get it banned, smart meters and 5G towers. We have them popping up everywhere where I am in the mountains of North Carolina and everywhere else, because they represent criminal assault. So of course, microwaving people is not a good thing. The In Power movement continued to make headway in Canada, using common law to trump the fraudulent British maritime law that all BAR, British accredited regions, associated lawyers, are initiated into. And the entire country of Switzerland banned 5G. So if the entire country of Switzerland bans 5G, why does the FCC radio communication chairman for the United States, Tom Wheeler, says in his videos, an announcement that you can go look up on the internet, Tom Wheeler, that 5G will be installed everywhere, expedited, and no research, no country, no county, no city, no state can interfere. Why would the government do that? But the government's in cahoots with these evil satanic forces. They're obsessed, as we just read in this book, with population. We all know about sustainability, global warming, climate change, terrorism, resources like oil, they say, that are being depleted, and so much more. And these situations, in my opinion, are all fabricated situations. They're mismanaging our whole world intentionally to bring about the problems, and then they can solve the problems and blame the problems on us, blame the problems on overpopulation, and so much more. Meanwhile, there's satanic forces when they're out there with even rabbis. I showed in a recent video a rabbi on a YouTube website called Torch, bashing the Christians, bashing the Islamic people, bashing the Buddhists, bashing the Hindus. So, and he even said that the Jewish people constitute 0.013 of the population, like 13 million, and the rest of us are 7 billion. So we are 99.7%, and they are 0.03%, and they control everything. And he's bashing all religions, and this is all part of biblical prophecy, and that the signature by the president, since President George Bush Sr., you can look it up on Yahoo image site, signing the Kabbalah Noahide laws as the religious laws of the United States and probably all countries all over the world, calling for the decapitation of people who continue to want to worship Jesus, believe in Jesus, or probably Muhammad, or the way this rabbi was talking, the Buddha, or Shiva, Kali, whatever. So it's a very sinister worldwide thing, and they have these microwave transmitters being installed everywhere, and they even named the book Nephilim Crown, 5G Apocalypse. So if all this research that I have done, getting these books in 15 years, and the common denominator is that this book seems to be quite in alignment with all of the stuff that I've been learning and sharing. It's in alignment with, they even say it with the rabbi speaking the other day, and in the Bible, if you read that. So why don't people believe what they can see? Why don't people hear what they hear when they watch the news? Why don't they actually listen and hear and get it? When they first told us this lockdown would be from the 13th of March until the end of the month, and then they extended another month, then they said 2 months, then now they're saying 2 years. And then when they do the reopening, we're all going to have to be injected with something. And if you don't have a card or the ID that you have been injected, you can't be reincorporated into the opened world. So everybody will be forced into this satanic system of being injected. And apparently, according to one video I was watching, they had this image of a human brain, 2 of them. One was a person who believed in God, and the colors in the image were one shape. And then this other person who said God is nonsense, I don't believe in any of that. His shape of the images was different. And they said the guy who didn't believe in God was the normal citizen, and the guy who did believe in God with that particular image was the threat to society, the one who will kill people or do bad things, and that they had a vaccine that they could stick into people to eliminate the difference in the DNA and change everybody's image to the guy who doesn't believe in God. And I've been trying to find that video. I was watching it with my significant other, and she didn't save the video. I said, where did you get that video I was watching with you on the couch? And we can't seem to find, we watch so many videos, but I will continue to look into that. And that was in the 1980s that these scientists were working on these different vaccines they could inject into people to alter their DNA. And apparently they can alter the DNA so that it changes people to have tendencies to not believe in any deity or any faith in anything like that, creating a particular mindset versus the other people who don't care and think that the Rainbow Coalition and pansexualism is okay. Apparently the images from their brains are different from people who want to stick with morals and godly beliefs and things that are different than the satanic do as thou wilt things. Apparently the brain scans, the images are different, and they have vaccines that they can eliminate, maybe even kill people with the image of their brain that shows they are a God-fearing, God-believing, decent, moral person, intelligent person who will not go along with their global world order. Wouldn't that be horrific if they've developed such a thing and they want to inject all of us and turn everybody into mindless robots? And apparently the information is true. They've been into eugenics and mind control with MK Ultra, Project Montauk, and so much more. I've been making so many videos. There's so many books about it, and it's even in this book here. The telecommunication industry is now the biggest lobbying group in Washington. The passage of the 1996 Telecommunication Act gave the industry immunity from liability related to the EMF radiation effects on our health. And that video I was watching today by one medical doctor, or I should say a biologist, a scientist, who they threw into prison. What was her name? Judy Mikovits. Judy Mikovits, a biologist, and she exposed, even including this guy, Dr. Fauci, and so much more material. They arrested her and ruined her, and she was just trying to do the right thing. She wrote a book. It's like you can go online and find Judy Mikovits' book, Judy Mikovits, apostrophe S. So apparently a lot of people have suffered trying to do the right thing. So apparently they give these the telecommunication industry, immunity from liability related to EMF radiation effects on our health, and a wide berth when it comes to building out the 5G infrastructure. Already 5G is happening in Los Angeles, Denver, Colorado Springs, Austin, Kansas City, Chicago, and Atlanta. When was this book written? (2019), Dean Henderson. Nephilim Crown, 5G Apocalypse, and his other book. I don't know if he's written any other books, but I have these two. Illuminati, Agenda 21. So apparently he's putting it all together, which is a another version, common denominator, with a lot of the other books I've made videos on. This is series 288. So almost 300 authors, and I've got several books I'm already reading, ready to make another video like this one here, Mind Trek. You don't believe in remote viewing. You don't believe that these people are into psychic communication with other beings. Exploring consciousness, time and space through remote viewing. Joseph McMoneagle. Exploring consciousness, time, space through remote viewing. Mind Trek. You don't believe these evil beings. Do you believe in God? If you're Christian, do you believe Jesus was real? If you're Islamic, do you believe that Muhammad was real? Hindu, do you believe Shiva, Kali, Buddhist, Buddha, Iranian, Zoroaster, and all these native tribes all over the world, Mayans, Peruvians, Alaskans, Hopis, Indians, all Aborigines, all over the world. Do you believe in your religion, what you were taught? And if you say yes to any of that, if you believe, then you also know in all of those religions, these evil forces are described. And they have these technologies, these viruses, these vaccinations. I'll just give you a short little thing I heard from Judy Mikovich's video I was watching this morning. Apparently, we all have versions of these viruses in us, because most of us, all of us, have been vaccinated at one time or another. And a vaccination includes a virus component, is which they stick in your arm, or you take a pill or whatever they do, so that you're immune to that particular virus. So they give you the virus to make you immune from the virus. So we all have the virus. So they're going to test all of us for the virus that we all have, because we all had vaccines. I'm not trying to play games with words here. We all have the virus. We've all been vaccinated. We're going to be tested for the virus. We're going to be tested positive, as Judy, the biologist, said, who they threw in prison, who wrote a book exposing all of this. So they're saying, we tested you. You have the virus. And of course we have the virus. We've been vaccinated in the past. We have numerous viruses in our bodies. So we're going to have to take another vaccine, and apparently they're working on vaccines that can change your DNA so that you're not a God-believing, God-fearing, emotional being like me or anybody else that's normal out there. I guess the vaccine will change normal people into the zombies. And apparently the 5G transmission artificial intelligence system, the communication system, is going to interact with this and can send out triggers to our bodies with the radiation to activate these viruses. So the 5G and the virus program is all tied together. And there's other components, according to Judy Mikovich and other doctors I've been listening to, and that would be the roundup or the glyphosates and the herbicides and pesticides and all these other toxins in our foods and water and chemical spraying, aerosol spraying into the sky is attacking our system, weakening and destroying our immune system, and putting the mask on. Here's another horrible thing she said. Putting the mask on, apparently we all have viruses. And normally we exhale and we inhale and we get clean oxygen in our body, which oxygen is what makes our heart pump and keeps us strong and healthy. And of course, a lack of oxygen, well, you stop breathing and pass out and die of asphyxiation. So apparently when you put a mask on, you're not letting all the detrimental oxygen and other components, virus, air, go away from your body. You're holding it in, so you're recycling all the bad stuff, again, weakening your system, which can trigger the viruses in your body. So the mask actually triggers the viruses in your body. The stuff dumped in the sky, toxin, triggers the viruses in your body. The radiation from the 5G triggers the viruses in your body. The vaccine they want to inject you with will probably trigger certain things in your body, viruses, or change your DNA. They've been working on this for a long time. Social distancing, staying away from other people, is also weakening the immune system. So these people have thought this out. These evil forces with all these laboratories, these people who are bent on depopulation, have spent many years figuring this out. And it's in books like this. It's in so many books I've got to go over. All right, so they gave the telecommunication industry liability in legislation. And according to Judy Mikovich and many other doctors I've been listening to, Rashid Buttar and others, they have legislation passed to give the biological companies immunity from liability for their vaccines. So they can give people vaccines and have masses of people by the millions dropping like flies or whatever else happens to them. And they have legislation passed so that they have immunity from liability. This is just pure out evil. I can't get insurance to make me immune from liability. If I do something wrong with my business, I could be sued. So they have immunity from EMF radiation and a wide berth when it comes to building out the 5G infrastructure. Already 5G is happening in Los Angeles, Denver, Colorado. I read all of that. And who is building? This is really important. These 5G small cell death ray towers for Verizon, AT&T, and Sprint. The leader of the pack is none other than Crown Castle. And he says, chess, anyone? So you can see the thing in this book, second highlighted paragraph down. And who is building the 5G small cell death ray towers for Verizon, AT&T, and Sprint? The leader of the pack is none other than the Crown Castle. So the Crown, the leader of the satanic cults, Luciferic cults, the Crown, the Queen, the King, who controls Canada, controls Australia, controls New Zealand, controls the United States via the Federal Reserve, in cahoots with the secret societies. She wears the little pendant, the Knights of Garter, on her dress when she's out in public. And there's so much material. David Icke and so many people have exposed this. These people that are into this Luciferic cult control the vaccination programs, the sky spraying, the 5G towers, and all these companies that produce meats and foods and controlling. It's all in this book. Airport monitoring and all that security systems all over the world. Apparently, according to this book, even involved with so many criminal events that we all know about, the deaths of famous people. Get the book and read it. I really would love to see people go buy this book. I get nothing for it. Don't even know this guy. I just continued to watch videos, and I don't believe things either, so I have to go get the book. And I've read so many books and done so much research. I believe I can tell what is true and what is not. And this guy seems to be telling the truth. And so who is building this? The Crown Castle. The Queen's husband, who said that if he was died and could be reincarnated, he'd like to come back as a virus to kill all the people. And it says here, chess, anyone? So it's all a chess game to these evil folks. Crown Castle is the largest provider of wireless infrastructure. In the United States. And remember, with this symbol here on the dollar bill, New World Order, mission complete, reptilian eye, pyramid, mystery religion of Babylon, Egypt, 13, 13, 13, 13. The Moloch thing on the one. So when do you suppose they put these symbols on the dollar? 1933. And why was that, you ask? That's when the United States went bankrupt. After being taken over by the evil forces in 1913 under President Woodrow Wilson, creating the Federal Reserve after not having control of our money for almost 70, 80 years, and there were attempted assassinations on a couple presidents, I think 1 or 2 killed. The House of Congress and the House of Representatives in the United States, our leaders from the Civil War in 1863 to 1867, 68, Abraham Lincoln, they would not give these evil forces control over the American money. They knew what was up. But they managed to regain control over our money in 1933, in 1913, and bring about World War I. And after that, they bankrupt America and took over our money supply. Hence, they took over our country, canceled the Constitution, and we became a corporation owned by these crown folks. And don't believe a thing I say. Please go look this stuff out. I've talked about all this stuff in videos for years. They canceled my channel on YouTube. They canceled it on Vimeo. I've got all the books. I'm redoing the videos on BitChute right now. And a strange thing about that, is anybody really watching my videos? Nobody leaves a comment. Only 30 or 40 people seem to watch my videos. It says I have 100 or so subscribers. So I do realize they can control the internet and appease me, you know, make me think I have subscribers, make me think people are watching my videos, but it could just be talking to myself. Wouldn't surprise me. But I make the videos and I try to get the material out there. But is anybody really watching? Does anybody take any of this information seriously? Does anybody go buy these books? Does anybody care? I saw all those people in line over at the Big W food store that was recently purchased by the Big A. And all the people were wearing their masks and acting like zombies and standing 10, 12 feet apart and acted like they were robots. Nobody would smile. Nobody would talk. I was there with my significant other, and her and I with no mask, and we were giggling at each other, looking at all the clowns around us, realizing that the mask would make them sicker. And it's common sense to me that if you have a cold or any kind of thing that makes you cough, you should probably get a tissue or something and not spray it everywhere. But not everybody had a cough or a cold and could infect anybody. And then when you get into the store, on the floor, they had the way arrows. You can only walk down this aisle this way at a grocery food store. And then take a right and come back up. And then they had to wait outside. They only allowed so many people in the store. And I realized that this is going on in Costa Rica, in Ecuador, in the St. John's and the islands offshore, and Australia, Max Egan, and Europe, and all over the world. Apparently, they guess they weren't getting their control they wanted with sustainability or global warming or climate change or the threat of terrorism. They couldn't convince us to give up the guns. So they used another one of their tools, in this particular case, that they've been having these virus threats and all these viruses created in laboratories. There are books like Leonard Horowitz, AIDS and Ebola, or Leonard Cole, book about clouds of secrecy. Clouds of secrecy. You get it? They were taking ships offshore in California and dispersing into the cloud these different biological viruses, bacterial weapons, over the city to see what would happen. They did it in the subway system in New York. They sprayed it with planes over cities all over the United States. Apparently, they've signed a treaty that they can't test these things on other countries, but they're allowed to test it on their own citizens. So the Canadians can test it on the Canadians. The UK can test it on the British citizens. The Americans can test it on the Americans, etc., etc. Very bizarre. And we see the planes spraying every day. And we don't know what has been tested. You know, they could dump depleted uranium. And I do have a Geiger counter, and it does go up and down different amounts in the air. And I have a carbon dioxide meter, and it goes up and down. The alarm goes off quite a bit, telling me that there's too much carbon dioxide in the air, which means there's a lack of oxygen in the air. And I know that the transmission of 5G will burst the oxygen molecules, creating a lack of oxygen. They can microwave the air at the exact frequency and burst the oxygen molecule, the water molecules, and you'll suffocate standing outside not knowing why there's no oxygen in your environment if they're nuking it at that time. And you might feel a little heat or a little tingly. Just FYI. This is what they can do. So it seems. So apparently Crown Castle, the Queen, and the corporations that control the United States, control Canada, control Australia, New Zealand, and apparently have destroyed all the countries in the Middle East and have their puppet leaders in charge, and probably all over Central, South America, all over the world. And that's why the whole world is shut down, and everybody is acting like little robots, not knowing what's really up and not hearing from all these doctors who are being censored. And you can go on the internet and watch it. David Icke, Brian Rose. I got to make a list and make a video just about all of these people with serious credentials who have been trying to warn everybody. But I don't know. Maybe they put a vaccine in all these people that are acting like robots to be zombies. And maybe 85, 90% of us are already zombies. So the Crown Castle, the British ownership, who are into the secret societies, into the Kabbalah, supporting Zionism, supporting the Noahide laws instead of Christianity, and the rabbi bashing Christianity, bashing Islam, bashing Hinduism, bashing Buddhism, etc. And he said the other 40 or 80,000 other religious organizations and tribes all over the world, none of them are right. 99.7% of us are incorrect, and these 0.03 people who are into this Lucifer type of thing are the only ones who are correct. Are you buying that? Seriously. Well, with that said, I'll end this video. I'm up to my 1 hour plus. And it's just appropriate that the wind blows this thing and tries to answer the question, do you believe that? Do you believe that? Can you see it? Can you see it? I've been making videos on the Freemasonry and Satanism series since 2013. Making videos on the internet since 2011 with the chemtrails and sky spraying. So it's, what, 10 years? They shut it all down on YouTube, shut it all down on Vimeo after 1 year, and many other people's websites and channels and Facebook. And I do have some more interesting videos to make right away. But this book, Nephilim Crown, 5G Apocalypse, please go online, try to get it. Dean Henderson. And his other one, I don't know if he has any others, probably. Illuminati, Agenda 21. There you go, those two words, the Illuminati. These are the symbols behind me for the Illuminati. All those people in Hollywood like Madonna with the Illuminati jacket and the Super Bowl halftime shows with all the Illuminati symbolism. And they got it right here on this book with this author. The Luciferian Plan to Destroy Creation, Depopulation. See it on the bottom? So what are you going to do? You're going to get this information out there? You're going to leave a comment, let me know somebody's watching the videos? You're going to copy the link and send it to other people? What are you going to tell your children, your grandchildren? What are people going to care about? There goes the answer again, rhetorical. Somebody's answering. Rick Miracle reporting.